This is amazing, you know, there's so much history I'm holding right here in my hand, you know, from the pioneers, from the beginning, the first boxers, you know, up to now. It's a blessing, and, you know, it's a part of history what we're doing right now, you know what I mean? And it gives me more motivation to go in the gym and work harder every day. For a boxer, man, it's so much, you know, it's support, everything you need in a box. We've had so much hours with our hands in the gloves, you know what I mean? So it's just a part of life for us. It's just, you know, holding this in my hand, you know, just being a part of all the boxers, all the great boxers have held this belt in history, in boxing history. You know, everybody I looked up to, mostly everybody started off with this belt, all my idols. So for just me having this in my hand, you know, you know, it's very emotional for me because I worked my whole life to get this. You know, I started boxing at age 3, and it's very emotional, you know what I mean? Now that I got my own, it just gives me more motivation to work harder every day. You know, I put my whole soul into boxing, you know what I mean? And boxing is a very jealous sport, but I gave it my all, and it gave me all the glory in return, you know? So I'm just, you know, extremely motivated just to keep going and working as hard as I can. You know, it's hard for me to choose one. There's just been so much role models or great boxers in my life that I looked up to: Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones. You know, there's just so much fighters that I try to get, I try to learn from them and implement what they do good into my own style, you know what I mean? It's just, they're the pioneers who set everything up, you know what I mean? So from their greatest victories to their downfall, you know, it's all there in the tape. You know, we could see, you know, how to do things correctly, how not to do things correctly. So, you know, it's a hats off to them just for showing us the way. You know, we appreciate all of it. Yeah, it's a different sport, you know, but, you know, most of the changes that's come with it is for the good, for the fighters. You know, now, most fighters, you know, back then, you know, they were having a lot of problems, you know, with their head, you know, getting hit too much. Now it's a little bit become I don't want to say safer sport, but it's more safe than it was back then. You know, people are taking the precautions, you know, to not get hit as much. You know, the game now is not to get hit as much. The game back then was, you know, go in there until you die, you know, and that's how you get the victory, you know, just put yourself on the line, you know, but we try to implement, you know, both styles into our game. You know, we want to go in there, be safe, but we want to get the people what they came to see. You know what I mean? So, you know, just following the old greats from back then, you know, they did a lot for us, you know what I mean? And you know, boxing has evolved into, you know, a great sport. It was an amazing sport, but it's evolved into a safer, you know what I mean? You know, the judges, everybody, they're more for the fighter now. No, I can't imagine a world without boxing. And if it's not, I don't want to be there. It's given me a lot of opportunity, you know what I mean, just to take care of my family, you know, living a little bit better, you know what I mean. It requires a lot of attention, a lot of, you know, sacrifice, you know, but the reward is so great, you know, especially in the position that we're in. And, you know, we're just giving back to the people. We get to be role models for the little kids, you know what I mean. We're the next generation, and we have to show these kids how it's done, you know what I mean. So when they get older, they can say, you know, David Benavidez was a great role model. That's what I want to do for the community. It's amazing, man. You know, I mean, not only my brother, but, you know, my father, Jose Benavidez, you know, we got our teammates, you know, it's like our family too. You know, my brother opened the doors for me, and I would say if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in right now, because him alone with his name, you know, gave me a little bit more exposure, because I didn't have no amateur fights or nothing. So he led the way for me, and it was just in my hands, you know, to execute what I had to do. You know, I just had to keep working hard. But it's very great to have, you know, come back home, and, you know, if my father's always on top of everything, he's just giving us the best chance we need to win. And, you know, everybody does their own part, and it's been amazing up to this point. There's always that pressure with my dad and my brother, but it's a pressure that we're comfortable with, that pressure we need to better ourselves, you know what I mean? Sometimes I know if I go to the gym and I have a bad sparring session, you know, I'm asking my dad, how do you think I did? Like, you know what I mean, like a little kid. But, you know, if it wasn't for him, me trying to impress him and do the best for him to give me that attention, they're always going to be my motivation. My dad, my father, my mother, and my sisters, my brothers, you know, everybody. You know, I just want to do the best for them. You know, there's a lot of thought. You know, at the end of the night, when we're training is done, you know, and we think, you know, is our body going to be able to do this for the rest of our lives? You know what I mean? So obviously, maybe 30, 35 is the stopping point, but I've thought about it. Maybe get into real estate, you know, some businesses, you know what I mean? But first, right now I'm still 21, so I got a couple years to think about that. So, you know, my main attention is on boxing right now and being the best. The dream fight. I got 3.
I mean,
let me see.
Because, you know, they're probabilities.
Yeah.
I mean, from the past.
From the past, maybe one of them has to be Roy Jones. He's an amazing fighter. It would just be a blessing. Well, speaking, you know, it would be an amazing just to be in the ring with him, just to share the ring. James Toney and Joe Kawasaki was another fighter. It was retired undefeated. Those are my dream fights for me. You know what I mean?